Shalom Saints, blessings to you. If you're listening to this broadcast, I want to quickly encourage you to please share this broadcast, like our page, House of Israel, Nigeria. Also subscribe to our YouTube channels, House of Israel TV and Underbosi AK. And also please go on our website, HOI Nigeria, and get to learn more about House of Israel Nigeria and the works we're doing, and how you can be a blessing to the missions of House of Israel globally. Quickly, I want to share with you on the power of insight, a very important message for the hour. I believe Jehovah is speaking to the heart of his people to begin to cry out for insight, insight. And through this broadcast this morning, or whenever you're watching this broadcast from, depending on your time zone, I believe this will deeply affect your heart and cause you to begin to cry out for insights. Jehovah is saying, I want my people to begin to cry out for insight. Jehovah wants his people at this very hour to cry out for insight. And if you've not begun to cry out for insight, begin to cry out for insight, because the Ruach is already releasing on his people the spirit of insight. Insight. Now, quickly, what is insight? What is insight? What is insight? Now, I want to begin with Matthew 7 6. Matthew 7 6. Yeshua speaking. Do not give dogs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to pigs, to swines. If you do, they may trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces. Now, key number one, don't invest your insight into people who won't value it. The first key, because insight is a treasure. Insight is a treasure of immense value. Insight is expensive. Insight is far more costlier than gold and silver. Insight will save your life. Insight will bring you honor and glory. Insight is so important. A lot of times people trade insight for the wrong people. They trade their insight, they waste their insight. They invest insight into people who won't value it, because they themselves don't even understand the power of the value of the insight they have gained or received from Jehovah. So they waste insight on people who don't value it. Now, what is insight? Insight is a capacity to gain an accurate and deep understanding of someone or something. In other words, insight is deeper knowledge. Insight is deeper understanding. Insight is deeper experience gained. Did you hear that? Insight is deeper understanding. Insight is deeper knowledge. Insight is deeper experience gained. That's so powerful. An African proverbs or adage says, what a boy or what a child cannot see standing on a tree, an elder sees it right on the ground. What a child cannot see standing upon a tree, an elder sees it on the ground. That's so powerful. And African adage also says that no matter how many clothes a child may have, it does not quantify to the experience or the garment of the elder. Meaning, one garment of an elder carries more experience than 1,000 of clothes or garment a child would ever have. Now, this tells us the power of insight. It is deeper experience gained. Now, a child may have knowledge, but parents have insight. A child may have knowledge. No, so a child may have a knowledge of Facebook, Twitter, iPhones, iTunes, and all of the sophistication of gadgets, 21st century gadgets. They may have knowledge of those things, but They don't have insights like the parent. This is a generation that boasts in knowledge without insight. A child may have knowledge, but parents have insight. A disciple may have information, but the master has insight. An apprentice may have talent, but his trainer has insight. Did you hear that? A child may have information or a child may have knowledge, but parents have insight. The deception of the adversary is to make children begin to boast in knowledge above insight. Knowledge puffs up, insight humbles. Knowledge puffs up, insight humbles. So when a child begins to gain knowledge, the temptation is to feel, I don't want to listen to my dad and mom. They are outdated, they are ignorant, they don't have information like I do. But the insights of the parents is a lifesaver for the child. Don't run off from a mentor because you've gained knowledge or you've learned a trade. Don't run off from an educational system or a leader or a person your vast used to teach and inform you or impact you or transform you simply because you've gained some new knowledge. New knowledge does not equate to insight or to deep insight. So insight is deeper understanding. Insight is deeper knowledge. It is knowledge from the depth, not knowledge at the surface. So a child may have knowledge, but parents have insights. We listen to our parents because of the insights. We listen to our leaders because of the insights. The day you start arguing with insight, it proves you a fool. Fools argue with insight. Fools resist insight. Fools challenge insight. A disciple may have information, but a master has insight. An apprentice may have talent, but his trainer has insight. We follow people. We listen to people more because of their insights. More because of their insights. The challenge you will face this. Insights get wasted because it is invested in wrong places and wrong people. Why? It is poured out on fools. It is poured out on fools. Now, quickly turn with me to the book of First Kings 4, verse 30. 1 Kings 4, 34. 1 Kings 4, 34. About the life of Solomon. 1 Kings 4, 34. Protect your insights. Protect your insight. Value your insight. Protect and value your insight. Let's build a new system where we protect and value insight. And one day your insight will eventually pay off. Don't feel because people are not hearing or receiving your insight, you should waste them on fools. One day your insight will pay off. Now, Solomon prayed to Jehovah after he gave Jehovah the sacrifice, 1,000 burnt offering, and Jehovah opened Solomon's mind, and Jehovah released upon Solomon deep insight. From that day forward, we see how the insight of Solomon became a tradable resource. It became an item of desire. In 1 Kings 4:34, it says, from all nations, people came to listen to Solomon's wisdom, Hebrew for insight. From all nations, people came to listen to Solomon's insight. Sent by all kings of the world who have heard of his wisdom. His insight became a tradable commodity. Insight is a tradable commodity. Don't waste it on fools. Don't waste it on those who don't value it. When you begin to Protect and value the insight of Jehovah over your life. A time will come when people from around the world, people with broken homes, broke failed business, people seeking guidance, direction, seeking truth, will seek for your insight. They will look for your insight. So from all nations, people came to listen to Solomon's wisdom, sent by all the kings. Did you see that? The world who have heard of his wisdom. Powerful. And let me show us something else about Yeshua that is so critical, and then I will pray for you for the impartation of supernatural insight. Supernatural insight. Now, Luke 2 verse 47. Luke 2:47. Luke chapter 2 verse 47. And all who heard him, Yeshua, were astonished at his understanding and answers. All who heard Yeshua. Now, if you read from the amplified version, it says all who heard Yeshua were amazed by his understanding and his answers. Now, the Lexham Expanded Bible puts it this way: and all who heard him were amazed at his insights and his answer. So now, so we are told Yeshua's ministry, the cutting edge power of Yeshua's ministry was the insight Yeshua acquired, the insight gained by Yeshua, Yeshua's insight into matters. Yeshua's insight into matters. Now this is so powerful, and we need to look at Yeshua's ministry and the Yeshua's power of insight, how insight promoted Yeshua and how insight elevated Yeshua. When Yeshua began ministry, he relied on his insight. It was a gift the Pharisees lacked. The Pharisees were taught from rabbinic scholars. The Pharisees relied on head knowledge, but they had no insight. In John chapter 3, even Nicodemus struggled with the concept of rebirth. Yet, Nicodemus was Israel's teacher. In the subject of the kingdom and new birth, Yeshua tells Nicodemus, "You are Israel's teacher, and you do not know these things." So if we've spoken to you of earthly things and you people do not understand, how much more if we speak of heavenly things? Yeshua underscores the vacuum of insight in the Pharisees and the Sadducees. The lack of insight led to misinterpretation of the Torah. It brought about wrong conclusion, wrong interpretation. Yeshua's cutting edge power and excellence in his ministry was due to the insight he had about Jehovah's law, insight about people. In John chapter 2, John tells us Yeshua knew men, he knew people. He did not entrust himself to them. Yeshua had insight into human nature. Yeshua had insight into questions. When people brought questions to Yeshua, Yeshua could tell the motivation of their questions. So when his ministry began at 30, he was blessed by Jehovah with deep insight into matters, into people, into his kingdom. There was no questions that could trap Yeshua. Yeshua was immune from deception because he had insight into all matters. Insight is indeed a treasure. Insight will save your life. Insight will bring you into a place of promotion and a place of honor. I'm going to show you something else and I will pray. In Proverbs chapter 2 verse 3. Proverbs 2:3. Now let's begin from chapter or verse 1. Let's begin from verse 1. Proverbs 2 from verse 1. My son, if you accept my words and store up my commands within you. Verse 2. Turn in your ear to wisdom and applying your heart to understanding. Verse 3. Indeed, if you call out or cry out for insight and cry aloud for understanding. So the cry for deeper depth is the pursuit of insight, the crying for insights and crying aloud for understanding. So insight is deeper understanding, deeper knowledge, and deeper experience gained. So for you to walk in receive insight, there has to be a desire and a longing. So there has to be a crying or a calling out for insight. In Proverbs 2:4 says, and if you look for it as for silver and search for it as for hidden treasure. Verse 5. Proverbs 2:5. Then you will understand the fear of Jehovah and find the knowledge. You see, this is not a knowledge of carnal things, the knowledge of Jehovah. So the finding of the knowledge of Jehovah, it itself, the gaining of insight, is a gaining of insight. That's why fools argue with insight. Fools resist insight. You see, that's why many are miserable, many are useless, and many live meaningless life. Why? They walk in the ways of the fool. They've chosen the path of the foolish. They despise insight. Now, let me show you something else again from Proverbs. Now, the book of Proverbs is nothing but a crying, a calling out for deeper insight. And I think this is a recommended material. Book of Proverbs will really help you if you are side. Now, look at the prologue in Proverbs chapter 1 from verse 1. The Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel, to know wisdom and instruction, to discern the words of understanding, to receive instruction in wise dealing, in righteousness and justice and equity, to give prudence to the simple, and to a young man knowledge and discretion, that the wise may hear and increase in learning, and that the man of understanding may attain unto sound counsel, to understand the proverb and the figure, the words of the wise and their dark sayings. The fear of Jehovah is the beginning of knowledge, but the foolish despise wisdom and instruction, or the foolish despise insight and instruction. So powerful. The fool despise. No, 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 no. The fool is no, 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 no. I don't care about that. Fools argue. Fools argue where they should learn. So if you're a wise person and you receive truth, when you receive truth as a wise person, you don't begin by arguing or resisting or challenging. You pause, you meditate, and you ask questions. This is the model of a wise man. But once you're a fool and information built on insight is released, and you're thinking, you come with your presupposition, your assumptions, your denominational dogmas, and you are not humble enough to say, okay, what is it saying? What can I learn from this? Because the first step to getting insight is a new awareness. Because to gain insight, you must have a new awareness of where you are and where you want to go. And then you have to be humble. You gain awareness, you are humble, because even you can't even gain awareness without that humility that you have deposited in your heart. You have that humility, and then you walk in an awareness. I need to go deeper. I don't have all answers. I have more questions than answers. And the questions begin to push you to answers. And because of that desire, Jehovah will cause your heart to be opened. And then you start having insight. You start seeing things from its deeper place, deeper meaning. You don't become a foolish son or a foolish daughter or a foolish employee or a foolish protege. You begin to listen. You want what? You want insight. You perceive insight as a treasure. You seek insight more than you seek silver and gold. You want insight. Think this way. What makes my mentor talk this way? You start asking questions from your mentors. You start desiring to know, because you have more questions now. You want insight. Why? Insight will set you on high. Insight will set you on high. We need more young people desiring for insight. We need more people who will enroll in colleges, universities, high schools. Because why? They are curious for insight. Not just going to school for a degree or a diploma. You're going for insights. You enroll into a seminary, a Bible school. Why? For insights. For insights. Crying out for insight. Proverbs 2:3. See what it says in Proverbs 2:3. So powerful. Proverbs 2:3. I love that word. If you cry after insight, crying after. You know what it means to lift up your voice for understanding. That means there's a deep place of awareness and humility. Crying after insight. Why? Insight is equal to wisdom. Insight is equal to wisdom. So don't be a rebellious son or daughter who walks in to the house or to the home and dishonor your parents because you don't have a diploma, you have a degree, or you don't know so much about technology, sophistication, and you no longer listen to your parents. You feel they're outdated. While you may be a child with information, your parents have insights, insight, insight. You may be a disciple with information, but your master has insight. You may be an apprentice with a talent, but your leader has insight. Would you have that curiosity to pursue insight, to pursue new horizons, new vision, new dimension, new understanding, new knowledge, to break new boundaries? You need to have a quest for insight, deeper knowledge, deeper understanding, deeper understanding. My focus is to challenge every man, every woman out there who has been blessed with insight. Don't waste your insight on fools. Don't waste your insight on fools, on the foolish. Do not waste insight on the foolish. Because why? Insight is a treasure. Insight is a blessing of Jehovah. Insight issue, and people will travel down like they did to Solomon to come hear your insights, and they will pay for your insight. Because why? Insight is life saving. Father, we thank you this blessed morning. We cry out this morning for insight. We cry for insight. We pray you release our eyes to see, bring us into a deeper depth, cause us to walk in greater vision. There are those who need insight in their business to scale the heights of becoming the business master. You need insight in that trade. We need people who rise in the kingdom with insight in business, insight in commerce, insight in their trade. That business you're doing, you have great insight into it. You may need to attend a conference, a seminar, and that's one of the things I was sharing. Once you start desiring insight, you start seeing a need to reach out to mentors, a need to read books, a need to read, to buy CDs, DVDs. Why? Insight makes you reach out. Insight will always make you reach out. Don't sit at the corner and become obsolete. Begin to desire insight from the elders. Seek insight. It is a door out of misery. May Jehovah cause you to grow and receive the humility to seek for insight. In Yeshua's precious name, we pray. Amen. So thanks for being a part of this special broadcast on insight. I pray you walk in insight from this moment onward in Yeshua's name. Amen. And I'm Apostle WCAK, Pastor, House of Israel, Port Harcourt, Nigeria. Our vision is to take the true gospel of the kingdom of Jehovah to the ends of the earth. And you can get to know more about our ministry by going straight to our website, hoinigeria.com. hoinigeria.com. So please visit our website, hoinigeria.com, and get to know more about us. And you can also visit us at our Port Harcourt office and sanctuary. The address is on the screen: House of Israel, Omoda, Airport Road, Arlo, Port Harcourt. And their phone numbers, they are called numbers. And I would love to have you around, and I would love to pray with you. Thank you so much for being a part of this broadcast. And also, there are ways you can be a part by giving to House of Israel Nigeria. You can give through World Remit, Cash App, and PayPal. The links and the address are on the screen. Please take advantage of the address. And may Jehovah bless you mightily as you obey. In Yeshua's name. Amen. Shalom.